joining us for our program today. As usual, your company is appreciated from week to week. We continue to bring you information in relation to what is happening within the public sector, the government of St. Kitts and Nevis. Today we are going to be having a discussion on the St. Christopher Air and Seaports Authority, what we call CASPER, St. Christopher Air and Seaports Authority. And the discussion will surround the preparation for the full reopening of the borders. As you know, our borders are not fully opened. We had a time when the borders were closed for a while, and this is all because of the COVID-19 pandemic. It has been a difficult time for everyone. The travel industry has suffered. The tourism industry has suffered. However, our borders are where we let people in and we let people out, and it facilitates tourism, travel, and so on. Today I have with me officials from CASPER. I have Ms. Tufida Stewart, who is the Acting Chief Executive Officer. Tufida, welcome.
Thank you.
And I also have Mr. Joseph Wilson, who is the Seaport Manager. Joseph, welcome. Right, now CASPER is celebrating 28 years. 28 years is a long time. And over those years, CASPER would have had challenges, it would have had successes, and people would have come and people would have gone, and so on. Could you tell us a little bit, Tufida, in terms of the 28th anniversary celebrations of CASPER, the theme and what it means?
All right, thank you, Les Roy. As you know, CASPER has been severely impacted from the COVID-19 pandemic. The main nature of CASPER being the air and seaports operator means that our sources of income have been more or less dried up. At the seaport, we saw a 60% reduction in cargo. At the airport, we've seen a 90% reduction in our revenue there. And at the cruise port, it has been shut completely. So we have no revenue coming from the cruise port. And so CASPER's cash flow has been dried up. Of course, that in itself brings with it several challenges, as you can understand. We've had challenges in the past, and this has intensified or amplified the challenges that we have at CASPER. So we had no choice but to put things in place to try and overcome those challenges. So we've done quite a bit of things. We've requested loan moratoriums. We've requested, we've renegotiated contracts. We've cut costs where possible. We've reduced our staff benefits or eliminated some of them. Our board and management has taken a cut in salary, 10% cut in salary. And of course, we've requested financial support from the government, which we've gotten. But in all of this, we've continued to pay our over 320 staff members their full salary. And those challenges would have brought with us, or brought to us, opportunities to change, positive change, to adapt to the current environment. So that is why this theme is so important or relevant at this time for CASPER. We have challenges that we need to adapt to, well, we need to overcome, and we have to change our systems, our processes, etc., to adapt to the new norm, to the new environment. So that is why we chose the theme for the 28th anniversary. Now, some persons may say 28th anniversary is not a worthy or significant milestone. Most times persons celebrate the 30th anniversary or 25. But we felt it's necessary in this environment to celebrate our successes, to look back at our successes in the last 28 years, and to just reflect on them and to celebrate how we're able to overcome the challenges that we're going through right now. So we've planned a number of activities for the 28th anniversary. It was centered more around our staff members because we do understand that the pandemic has affected everyone and mental health is a serious issue. And whereas our staff would have been fully paid, we do understand that others in the household would have been severely impacted. The children would have been impacted. So we felt it's necessary to plan some activities around taking their minds away from the stresses of the pandemic. So on September 5th, we kicked off the activities with a church service at the Antioch Baptist Church. And today we're here on Working For You to share with you the plans that we have for the reopening of the borders and to deal with other issues surrounding CASPER. In fact, before I came here, someone said to me, you're opening up yourself or you're presenting yourself to be slaughtered. So looking forward to hearing the questions and the criticisms that is going to be confronting us here this afternoon, and we're going to take on those constructive criticism and address the issues as necessary. On the 10th, we do have karaoke, sing-off with our staff members. Of course, we'll be complying with all the COVID-19 protocols, so not all 320 staff members would be there. We're going to just have a fraction of the staff members at that activity in compliance with the COVID-19 protocols. We also have a community uplift project. In the past, CASPER Sports Club would have collaborated with the Rotary Club of La Amiga to have some trees planted on the Bay Road. Some of those trees have died, so we're going to have a project with the sports club to replant those trees. And as I mentioned earlier, mental health is very important. And while we focus on vaccinations, etc., we also have to focus on building immunity. So we're going to have a nature walk or hike up to Sulphur Stone with a group of our staff members. And then we're going to close off the activities on the 30th of September with a virtual launch of our brand new, redeveloped website. So that basically takes care of the activities for our 28th anniversary and why CASPER chose the theme of overcoming challenges and building resilience, because it's very, very appropriate in this current environment.
Thank you, Tafida. Now, what are some of the responsibilities of CASPER? What is CASPER responsible for?
CASPER is essentially responsible for the airport, the RLB International Airport, and at the seaports, it's responsible for the cargo dock, that's at Bird Rock. It's responsible for the Port Zante Cruise Terminal, and it's also responsible for the ferry terminal.
So it's the airport, the ferry terminal, Port Zante Cruise Port, and the cargo port. That's what we call the deep water harbor.
That's right.
Up in Bird Rock.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good. Now, in terms of the sustainability of borders, because we are not in ordinary times, let's put it that way. We are in now a world where we have a pandemic. And the pandemic has brought about many challenges with respect to borders. And how borders are managed can determine how a country is affected by the pandemic. So we have to think in terms of sustainability. What is being done in terms of the sustainability of the opening or the reopening of our borders in a COVID world, in a COVID-19 world? Because it's one thing to feed that we are planning to reopen the borders, but we have to sustain the borders being open. Because, you know, people have open borders and then you've had border closures and so on. It all depends on the management of the borders. What is being put in place, or what has been put in place?
Okay, thank you for that question, Lesroy. Of course, we need to ensure that our infrastructure is well up to par with international standards. So we have, during the pandemic, completed the phase 2 of the airport infrastructure rehabilitation project. We have, on September 2nd, in fact, completed the Alpha Taxiway, and that was done in concrete. And the Alpha Taxiway is the largest of the taxiway, and it is used predominantly for the larger jets, such as the British Airways. We have, prior to that, completed, as part of phase 2, taxiway Bravo and Charlie. So in terms of the infrastructure rehabilitation, those were completed. We've also installed brand new lighting system at the airport. As you may know, we've done some other work in terms of the facilities themselves. At the airport, we have constructed a welcome center. We have also constructed an isolation center. We have created a health pre-screening area at the airports. We've given the immigration section a facelift, and we've reconfigured the custom area. Those were done to facilitate the protocols that are in place to ensure the safe processing of passengers. So those are some of the things that was done on the airport side. And at the cruise port, on the seaport side, I don't want to I'll probably ask Joseph to speak to some of the things that would have happened at the seaport in terms of our readiness for the border's full reopening.
Hi, good afternoon again. What I would say is, or add to what Tafida said, is one of the things that we are doing or have done is the continuous training of our staff. Because it's okay to have our facilities and everything up to par, but without the human element and their understanding of how to tackle any issues when they arise. That's one thing that we have continuously tried, or are doing. Number 2, what we are doing there, we are all in communication with the Ministry of Health and the CMO. We are currently building a sanitization center or area for our pilots and our pilot boat crew. So when they exit or leave the vessel, they sanitize before they come off the vessel. We have implemented certain protocols that were established by, again, the Ministry of Health, where we are our custodial staff do necessary cleaning, doing the necessary things to ensure that our facilities are in necessary order, to ensure that if anything happens, we are basically complying with what we have to do. Outside of that, we have just completed the painting, the chipping and the painting of our ballads. We are currently now embarking on a project, our fendering project, to ensure or to replace the fenders that are not with good standing on Pier 1. So I'll leave it there for now.
Okay, just to add to what Joseph has said, we've also, in terms of building resilient and being in a position to continue, as Lesroy said, in the current environment, we have taken the decision to implement a brand new port management system. That system has various modules that involves every department within CASPER. So whereas we have 5 separate locations, we'll be able to communicate electronically without having persons to physically go to various different departments for approvals, etc. So we do have a port management system that is soon to be implemented that would allow for the electronic communication within CASPER and also recording and reporting. In addition to that, and attached to that port management system, we have a port community system. And that port community system is essentially a single window system that would allow our partners within the industry to communicate with CASPER and to grant approvals to the vessel. So